Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Thomas, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. I'm here today with my colleagues from the Pennsylvania State Police, from PennDOT, from the Turnpike Commission, to discuss the preparations and provide some information regarding the impending winter storm that's going to begin to impact the state, probably as we speak. We've collectively been monitoring this storm for a number of days. We've been making plans, adjusting our plans based on the changes in the forecast. This is a process we use for all storms to ensure that we're prepared to deal with any adverse impacts. We can support our county emergency management partners should they need additional assistance from us. As you can probably tell if you've been watching the weather forecast or listening to the media, over the last few days, this is a complex storm that has the potential to significantly impacts across our state. And the impacts are going to range widely from one part of the state to the other, from significant snowfalls to sleet to freezing rain or to just plain rain. We've seen in the past conditions can rapidly change, making traffic extremely difficult, if not impossible. Storm conditions can also impact those not traveling by causing power outages that can last for hours to days and affect the ability that we have to heat our homes. This afternoon, we've activated the Commonwealth Response Coordination Center, where we'll monitor the conditions throughout the storm. We're going to work with PennDOT, the Turnpike Commission, and PSP. And we're going to adjust travel restrictions and bans placed on the roadways as conditions change, and be prepared to coordinate any assistance that we need for any areas of the state that may be adversely impacted by the storm. In addition to the agencies represented here, we've also been coordinating with the Pennsylvania National Guard should additional assistance be required, as well as distributing information to the private sector through our Pennsylvania Business Emergency Operations Center. Just as we prepare, we also ask motorists and citizens to prepare accordingly. For rapidly changing traveling conditions, we have a couple of advice for you, and we'd ask that you really pay attention to this. If you don't need to travel during the high impact times, please consider changing your travel plans and let the road crews do their job without a lot of other cars that don't need to be on the road. If you must travel, please check the road conditions before departing and be prepared should you become stranded. Have a full tank of gas, make sure your cell phone is charged, have supplies with you like blankets, snacks, and any special items you might need for the elderly, very young, or for pets. If you lose power during the storm, please report it immediately to your power company and stay away from any down power lines or poles. Please do not attempt to heat your home with items such as stoves and gas grills that were not meant to heat your homes. They can increase the risk of fire for individuals, and they also really increase the risk of being exposed to carbon monoxide, which is a toxic, deadly gas that you cannot smell. Unfortunately, we've seen too many tragedies that result when people do not understand or respect the changing environment that these types of storms create. By heeding this simple advice, we can all make sure that everyone remains as safe as possible during the storm. Now I'd like to turn it over to Lieutenant Adam Reed from the Pennsylvania State Police to provide some further information.
Thank you, Deputy Director Thomas. Winter storms could be a dangerous place for anyone out traveling. As a first responder, I've worked during numerous snowstorms and have seen firsthand the danger associated with being out on the roads during a storm. With that said, we urge Pennsylvanians and visitors to stay in and stay warm during this storm. And please, only travel if absolutely necessary. If you must travel, we have a simple few recommendations for you. First, take it slow behind the wheel. Driving too fast for conditions is an all too common cause of crashes during winter storms. If you do find yourself stuck or involved in a crash, please move off the road as far as possible. Next, reduce distractions. Set your cell phone aside and focus on the task at hand. That task at hand is getting to your destination safely. Finally, pack emergency supplies. Take a few extra minutes to ensure you have a blanket, water, snacks, necessary medications, and even a small shovel in your vehicle. If your vehicle becomes disabled or you get stuck in traffic, you'll be glad that you do have these items. Pennsylvania State Police and other first responders will be out responding to emergencies and calls for service regardless of the weather conditions. If you see an emergency vehicle with its lights on, assisting an emergency scene, please reduce your speed even more and slow down and move over into the next lane, if possible. On an operational basis, the Pennsylvania State Police will be calling in additional manpower or holding over manpower as the situation dictates. We'll be working with our state and local partners and staffing the Commonwealth Response Coordination Center here at Pima. Again, stay in and stay warm during the storm. Let law enforcement and other first responders respond to these emergencies as safely as possible. At the end of the day, we just want to get home to our families as well. So please, do your part to keep our roads safe and clear during the storm. I'd like to now turn it over to PennDOT's Acting Executive Deputy Secretary, Melissa Batula.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for giving us the opportunity to address you all today. And I really want to thank our committed teams that are out there across the state, both our operators and our mechanics that are out there battling the storm and make sure we keep those roads safe and passable. So as was said earlier by Director Thomas, we do keep in constant communication with the state police, with the Turnpike, with the Pima, as well as our other state partners for the adjoining states and industry partners to keep everybody abreast as to what's occurring on the roadways. Now, we have been out pre-treating our roadways in anticipation of the storm, and we'll continue to be out there 24/7, if you will, until the storm's over and has moved on. We've also implemented both speed and vehicle restrictions on our roadways for those most highly impacted areas and the higher traffic volumes. We do use a tiered approach to those restrictions, and we'll be continuously monitoring those conditions, and we may have to adjust those as the storm progresses. So now we do approach those restrictions with a balance. Of course, first and foremost, we're looking for the safety of the motoring public, but we're also trying to balance that, of course, with the movement of goods and keeping that flexible. So now, although the snow accumulation forecasts have shifted, it has been changing over the last couple of days. We are seeing the forecast now have slightly less snow accumulations forecast for the eastern part of the state. But right now, we're seeing very cold weathers in place, which really is going to increase the probability of seeing those icy roads. So that being said, we're keeping those restrictions in place. We'll continue to monitor those. If the conditions do improve, we'll, of course, lift those as soon as it's safe to do so. The restrictions themselves, as I said, really are designed to keep all our roadway users safe. We do encourage you to go to our 511pa.com website. That gives you the most up-to-date information on those restrictions. And now, while our teams at both PennDOT and the Turnpike are out in force to keep those roads, again, safe and passable, it's truly critical, as has been said by our partners at the State Police, really stay home if you can. That really is the best way to allow our crews to go out, keep those roads clear for those that have to be out. We do prioritize the higher traffic roads when we look at snow clearing operations. So again, for those that do have to travel, can do so as safely as possible. And we also prioritize the roads that are leading to our healthcare facilities. So now we have been looking, we have moved some of our staff in advance of the storm to address those specific needs, and we'll continue to monitor that throughout the storm to shift those resources to where we need them the most for battling the storm. Again, that 511pa.com is your continued resource for really the latest information. So now keep in mind, even once the storm itself does move out, there's lots of work that still has to be done, and our crews will remain out. We'll continue to treat those roadways throughout the storm until those roads are clear, and we'll be doing additional activities such as cleaning up the shoulders, and those operations do take some time. So again, avoid any unnecessary travel. Give our crews an opportunity to really take care of those roads and keep them safe. So also wanted to raise your awareness that even if a road looks clear, it is very important to be mindful of your speed. Those speed differentials are very dangerous. And when you look at it, our snowplows are still out there. They're moving relatively slow. So really, you need to make sure you keep those speeds down because you're not aware if there's black ice, other ice conditions out there, as well as, again, avoiding our plows. So again, on our 511pa.com, there is a wealth of information out there. In addition to the restrictions I already mentioned, there's hundreds of traffic cameras that you can view and actually see in real time what the conditions are on the roadway. And we also have applications that will track where the snow plows are on the particular road in interest to be able to let you know kind of what that time is when that plow can be expected again. So again, we ask you to do your part, be our partners in this as we continue. Stay off the roads if you can so that we can keep them safe. And if you must drive, please do so based on those conditions. So slow down, give our plow trucks plenty of room as well as other motorists out on the road, and never try to pass or weave in between two plows that are out there. So again, we ask you to please think of safety first and always. And we thank you very much. And now I'm going to turn things over to PA Turnpike's the CEO, Mark Compton.
Thank you, Melissa. Good afternoon, everybody. And I, too, would just like to acknowledge my colleagues here and their agencies for all the work and the leadership they provided through this event and through what we've had already this winter. I must tell you, the cooperation, the coordination, the communication is unparalleled in my career, and we thank you for that and all that your agencies are doing. That's a key to a successful snowstorm, and that's what we anticipate having today. Also, too, I'd like to acknowledge all of our colleagues, as Melissa said, are in the seats today. So that is the men and women who are out on the front lines fighting this storm for us, both at PennDOT, at PSP, as well as the Turnpike. We've got a dedicated group of public servants who are out there making sure to keep safe passage and mobility here across the Commonwealth today. And they're ready to do so, to do their part. And as has been said here, we ask that you please do your part. I, too, just want to acknowledge some of our best customers on the system, which is our commercial customers. I want to thank you for your patience through this time. We don't take these restrictions lightly. We know that this impacts commerce, and I just want to thank you because the last couple of storms, because of your cooperation, we as an entity, us and PennDOT, were able to lift those restrictions a lot quicker, candidly because you cooperated and were able to keep the roads open for you and get you back moving quicker. And we hope to be able to do that with this storm as well. In large part, that'll be the mutual cooperation between the two of us and you all. In these dark hours that we plan, we expect to see the most snowfall. And to that point, there are conditions with this storm that we're tracking that we haven't seen yet this year. And really, it's even last year, I don't think we've seen a lot of them. And that is with the temperatures that we have here already across the Commonwealth in the teens, it tells you that the road surface is already frozen. So as soon as the snowfall starts, it's going to start impacting traffic immediately. So we're not going to get a grace period with this storm. So we ask for your full cooperation as the event kicks off here within the next couple of hours, especially in the western part of the state. And this is going to be especially important on the interstate system as well as the Turnpike to where if snow is going to fall at 2 inches per hour, you think about a half hour to 45-minute cycle time, that gives you a sense of how much snow is going to be on the roadway in between our cycles. So to that point, we may be in a position to where we are going to be fighting to keep one lane of traffic open. So if that's the case, we ask you to please do not pass. Your goal today needs to be to safely reach your destination, not to safely reach your destination at any certain time. So please adhere to the restrictions that are out there. We ask if you see one lane of traffic open, it'll probably be the right lane unless there is an incident. We ask that you please stay there and only pass if you absolutely have to, because if that lane isn't touched with the ice beneath it, that could be very, very treacherous. So with that, this ends our formal part of our press conference for you today. And now we'll turn it over to Ruth to walk you through instructions to ask questions.
Thank you. We'll now start the Q&A portion of our press conference. Please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom if you'd like to ask a question. When you're called on, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Reporters are limited to one on-topic question. If we have time, we will begin a second round of questions. And our first question today comes from Jen Rahill. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I want to just say thanks to everyone for coming together and providing us this information this afternoon. I'm wondering, with what we've been seeing in terms of COVID staffing shortages, COVID-related staffing shortages, we've reported some on this for PennDOT. Across all of the agencies, do you anticipate, is this adding extra challenges to dealing with this storm at this time? Does it mean prioritizing, plowing some roads and not others? I'm just wondering if you can give us a picture of what that looks like.
Sure. Appreciate the question. Of course, staffing is always a consideration for us. We have been in touch with all of our operation, both at the Turnpike and at PennDOT, and we are confident that we have the staff we need to battle this storm, so it's not like we're going to not address some of those areas. We have been able to shift the staffing to where we need it, and we'll continue to monitor that throughout the storm. And really what's helping us out, again, with this storm is it's relatively fast-moving, so that the worst of the storm should be over within 12 hours. So that certainly helps as we're able to fully staff one shift to be able to, again, really address that. So that's really in our favor as well. But no, at this point, we are fully confident we have the staff we need to battle this storm. So appreciate the question.
Jack from WFMZ, please go ahead with your question. Jack, we cannot hear you if you are asking a question. Okay, we will go on. Does any other reporter have a question? If not, then we will conclude today's press conference. A recording of today's media briefing will be available later this afternoon on pacast.com.